Good afternoon, everyone. Planting conditions, Ukraine. EU pulls back wheat and barley forecast down third month in a row. Britain, food bank, please help, not enough food. Oil companies in India assure everybody there's no shortages, following on the heels of India banning wheat because there's not enough in the country. You might start to think about the wheat shortage of 1797 and look for these wheat substitutes to create your bread. There's many different ways to do things, magnetics and vortices. Most snacks use unhealthy artificial ingredients that may cause weight gain and are bad for your body. That's why you need to try Toodaloo adaptogenic trail mix, mouth-watering, and my #1 favorite snack. I'm not the only one who loves it. Toodaloo was rated the #1 best and healthiest nut snack in America by Eat This, Not That Food Awards. And each of Toodaloo's 4 flavors has 30 adaptogenic herbs, and it's great for prepping. It has a 12-month shelf life, so if you're thinking about putting some storable foods aside, puppy cameo. And for the next 24 hours, you can try Toodaloo, America's most delicious trail mix, at up to 20% off by visiting Go Nuts With Me. You don't get the puppy included, that's my puppy, but you can get one of the 4 flavors here, all 4. GoNutsWithMe.com. That link's in the description box below. And now on with the video. And a quick look at what is considered good or very good as the USDA embarks on its crop tours. So far, Kansas, 45% of all wheat is rated as very poor. We'll see as they progress. The very poor is in the western part of the state. This is in the eastern part, looking good. And as these price rises continue unabated, we are going to have to embrace pioneering lifestyles, something a little bit simpler way of life to move us through to this next world that we're entering, being pushed into, dragged into. And one thing that we all love is bread. So let's start off with the wheat shortage of 1797. The bread for commoners was not available. Terrible wheat harvest, just like we're experiencing right now. So what happened? People shifted, people moved, they morphed into what they made bread from. So potato bread, pair 1 peck of potatoes. But again, you know, we're talking about old style measurements here. A pinch of that, a dash of that. 2 pecks of wheat flour. So what they were trying to do was substitute more potato than the wheat and come out with something that was still edible that could turn into a loaf and then bake it. So looking through history, these are some of your wheat substitutes here. Mung beans, corn for the cornmeal, potato bread, spelt and barley. These are well-known breads through history, but if you do want to make the potato bread, here is the recipe and also the link for the video so you can watch the full baking process, including the fermentation of the bread, because you might need to substitute in the future. And you might want to have something like that to help you move through, because you know you could have stews and vegetables, but it's always nice to have something hearty with it. Piece of bread, cracker, something like this just adds to the flavorfulness. You're going to get bored eating the same things again. So if you are going to start eating some of your preps, you need to taste everything, know what you like, what you don't like, what pairs with other things. You have about 3 months left before you're really going to start to put this in practice, and that's no joke, and we really need to get ready. So start experimenting with what you have stored aside or what you might store. Go buy something smaller, a couple cans of it first before you buy a case. Taste it, see if you can, take the saltiness away from it, and then move that into other products that you could use, and then go back and buy more. But game on right now for the getting ready with the foodstuffs. And why would I say that? Well, the EU has slashed its wheat and barley forecast yet again. For the 3rd month in a row, they've been downgrading. So it doesn't give me much faith when massive winds, hailstorms, droughts have been pounding this area, especially France. It's going to continue downward, in my personal opinion, for the next 2 months until it's just down when the harvest comes and whatever's there is there. We're experiencing the same thing in the U.S. as well. But now we need to add in the Ukrainian production here. A look at Ukrainian farm fields, and how frequently do you think you could turn a machine around those holes there? Because that's the name of the game. You know, these agribiz farms, they tear down farmhouses so they don't have to turn the tractor as frequently. But how many times would you need to turn your tractor to get yield around in those large vacant spaces? And how much of the field would actually be missed because you couldn't till it close enough to where the craters were? And I have to add this in, a blast from the past, Tesla technology. Magnetics in use once again. Now, we have seen this pretty recently with the U.S. Navy, but this takes us back to the early 1900s, more than 100 years ago. Showing the same things here, using electricity, how to pull a magnetic field and toss an object out in the direction you want it to go. All you have to do is recharge the magnetic generator, whoosh, and another wall of magnetism propels something. Makes you wonder what else we could use electrogravitics, magnetics to do in our world. Generator, hint, hint. Going to move down to South America here. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, South America is going to be the savior to help us dig into these food shortages that are going to sweep us in the northern hemisphere here. Really low yields, fertilizer shortages, you know, the Baltic Sea is not exporting, and now we're getting massive reports of losses from the EU and the United States. Russia's not doing much. Nothing's going to be exported. We're down 30, 40 million tons of exports at the minimum. India cut off, and everybody's looking at the southern hemisphere. So what's going to happen as we move down there this planting season? As we roll into winter up here, they're going to be down into the growth season and planting in the southern hemisphere. And off fast markets, Argentina wheat plantings hindered by dry weather. Another drought in a different place. Argentina wheat output revised down on lower plantings. Again, back to the drought. And if we look at Argentina Fertilizer Association, they're getting at least a 7% drop compared to last year, what was available. So we're doing a simple 1-to-1. That's what you need to do. 1-to-1 ratio. 1% decline in fertilizer application means 1% decline in your yields. So we're looking at minimum a 7% drop across Argentina, in addition to the drought. So add another level of complexity on top of that forecast. And you'll see why over in Britain, they're bolstering the food banks amid growing insecurity. And look at this, 76% of the people in the UK are worried about food prices. That's 3 out of 4. And if you get down to the bottom paragraph there, the agency's research showed that the number of people using food banks or charities has risen drastically, going from 9% in March of 2021 to 15% in March of 2022. Due to the trajectory as things get unaffordable moving through this harvest season in the Northern Hemisphere, that's going to be 25%. 24 if you do the simple math. A quarter of any country's population on food assistance, needing food banks and food help and handouts to get through so their families can eat and they can eat, is a society disrupting event. Has been time immemorial. So when you look at these grand solar minimums every 400 years, you look at the cyclic patterns of why societies at their apex always collapsed. Food. It was never about the tech. It was never about the money. It wasn't about the rulership of the day. It was always about the ability to feed the population. So where does this take the UK or Britain as we move through this next 3 to 5 months here? A quarter of the entire population is going to need food bank assistance. That's not going to work. What if their supply chains break down and the food's not available for those to go get it? And a lot of people donating now have pulled back because their food costs have risen as well. We're getting into this feedback loop. And this is truly something to watch here, what would happen. Because if it happens there, it can surely happen here. And on to India, former British colony. Get him out of there. Indian Oil says, don't worry, absolutely normal supplies we request, you do not panic. because rumors had swept through that, well, Indian oil was going into a shortage with diesel just like the rest of the planet, and regular fuel supplies were not going to be as forthcoming or as plentiful that you better rush and go get your fuel now because they're going to run out in these 4 different areas from Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, and a few other areas. So people decided to fill up their trucks and go buy extra. I love it how you can put it in a bottle there. You could never get away with that in the States here. So then you ask, why would the citizens just run out at a drop of a hat and go purchase everything? Well, just a few weeks ago, India banned all exports of wheat, saying, oh, there's not enough wheat. And weeks before that, India said they were going to have record output. That's more like one of those fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me type of things. Because if we look into the article here, India's export ban, total ban, they're really trying to keep the food in the country. They know they will get overthrown if they don't feed the people. Hey, that's a cycle. But what happens? They're going to remove another source of affordable wheat for many low-income importing countries, mainly from the Middle East and Southeast Asia, South Asia. Sri Lanka, ring a bell? Egypt, ring a bell? These are the kind of countries that are going to have very difficult times feeding the people, and you know it's going to start with those nations that import first. So here we go. Just as the Americans are going to start to maybe question things that we're seeing about food availability and supply chain, well, India is already well in front of us, months ahead of running when any rumors are around. And speaking of using the Earth's magnetic field to generate power, Victor Schauberger, gravitational vortex power mimicked in the skies here, Flagstaff, Arizona. But take a look at the power of the vortice. If you could spin a turbine in the center of that, and I highly encourage you to look at gravitational vortex power as a way for us to move through this with our own power generation needs, as centralized systems fail to deliver what we've been used to. Food, energy, security. Those are going to be the 3 key areas of life you're going to be focusing on, especially through 2023. Storable foods, My Patriot's Plan, Adapt 2030, the 3-month emergency food supply, 25-year shelf life. That link's in the description box below. Helps the Adapt 2030 channel keep bringing you information just like this. We are moving into a very different world. You're going to have to be more responsible for your own life because, as I've said umpteen times, centralized supply chains are going to stop delivering what you have gotten used to. In terms of energy, there'll be power outages, rolling blackouts, rolling brownouts. Trucks bringing fresh produce and foods in every single day or every couple of days. Trucks bringing you, I should say tankers, bringing in fuel supplies to your local petrol station are going to be fewer and further between. And then we can just see how everything else moves after this. And then we come to the food at the end of the year. The food's going to get really expensive, and there's going to be a lot of things that upset the financial markets. Where right now, as it's sitting, the contract delivery of pledge contracts, we're going to take it, get it ready for us coming in September. They don't have enough corn right now. And December is happening the same exact thing in Chicago. Never happened before like this. There's so many paper contracts out there versus what there are for available physical. The same thing's true with silver and gold. But this time, those that are holding the contracts for corn, they're going to take it, and it's not going to be there. So what you know is financial markets on the commodity side is going to rift and break, at least for some time. They can call force majeure all they want for, what was that, the nickel trades and pull trades back and bankrupt people who had already made millions. But when it comes to the food, it's a little bit different because you're going to see it not in the products on your supermarket shelves, and those products are going to disappear. So anyway, I do appreciate you watching. Hope you got something out of the video. It's time to really go to work. You got 3 months or so until it really hits. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again. Bye for now.